Yo, what's up guys? Yuri Elkaim here. In this video, I want to share with you how to do intermittent fasting to lose weight more easily. I'm going to share with you a really cool strategy that I use, and I use it with my clients for the past 2 decades to accelerate weight loss without really feeling deprived and like you're going to go into starvation mode. So stick with me for the next couple minutes. And the reason I'm sharing this with you is because I've written the best-selling book on this topic called The All-Day Fat Burning Diets, and people turn to me for more energy and easier fat loss. And that's really what I've been doing for the past 2 decades. And in this video, that's exactly what I'm gonna hook you up with, especially as it pertains to losing weight. Because, right, who wants to have excess weight hanging around? So, first of all, intermittent fasting, I've done other videos on this topic. You can check them out as it pertains to what it is and how to do it properly. But in this one specifically, I wanna share a cool strategy with you that will accelerate your body's ability to tap into fat stores. Now, intermittent fasting is essentially 1 day more or less without any food intake. And the reason that's important is because from a fat loss perspective is when you don't consume food, your body goes into a catabolic state, which basically means a breakdown state as opposed to an anabolic state. Anabolic basically means building up. As an example, when you have something that contains carbohydrates, those carbohydrates are going to raise your blood sugar when you digest them. That blood sugar is going to stimulate the release of insulin, which is a storage or anabolic hormone. So insulin is going to take all those sugar molecules and store them in your muscle, liver, and fat cells. And that's totally fine if you're looking to, recover from a workout or, put on some muscle and just in general for the most part. But when it comes to fat loss, sometimes, and very often actually, it's actually really good to not be in an anabolic state where we have high levels of insulin. Too much insulin is actually very bad for our health, leads to inflammation, leads to eventually type 2 diabetes if it gets out of control. So what we want to think about doing here is how do we put ourselves in a state where we have low insulin, and what that's going to end up telling our body to do is instead of storing, breaking down fat. So the best way to do that is not eat food. That's as simple as that. So if you want, if you're doing an intermittent fast, it's essentially 1 day of drinking water. It could be sparkling water, flat water, herbal tea, but you want to really avoid the sweeteners and any kind of added, additional stuff that's going to bring calories into your body. So just think about that. Really simple, just water and nothing else. Okay. So here's what we want to do: is to really tap into the power of intermittent fasting. Is what I would recommend. Is actually something I did this morning before shooting this video for you. Is I went for a run with my kids down by the lake. And what we know with exercise, what happens, especially at a good intensity, I'm not talking about going for a leisurely stroll. You want to get to a point where you're getting a good huff and puff, right? You're getting a good sweat on, you're raising your heart rate. And the cool thing is you only have to do this for a couple of minutes. You don't have to do this for an hour. So I'm talking about a 5-minute burst of higher intensity activity that's going to really get you huffing and puffing. And you can honestly do this in your backyard. You can do jumping jacks, burpees, whatever it is you want to do. What happens when you do this is that you stimulate the release of adrenal hormones, specifically adrenaline, right? And what adrenaline is going to do is it's going to go to your fat stores and it's going to signal to them to say, hey, listen, we just had this burst of activity. We need to break down stored fat and release that to be converted into energy. Now that's kind of the layman's way of looking at that, and I want to kind of keep things simple for you. So when that happens, that's a really good thing. But the problem, not that it's a problem, but from a fat loss perspective, if we want to really maximize fat loss, what we don't want to do is do that exercise and then eat food right away. Because what the food's going to do is it's going to basically negate any of that fat breakdown because we're going to store all that stuff right away. So here's what we're going to do. Is on the fasting day, where we're doing that 1 day fast, we're going to do a short burst of activity first thing in the morning. Okay, 5 minutes, good intensity, get a good huff and puff on. Then we're simply going to go through the rest of the day without any food until later in the day. And that's it. That is it. Because here's what's going to happen. You get that initial burst of activity. It's going to stimulate the breakdown of fat, which is already going to happen, by the way, when you're in a fasted state. But now we're just kind of accelerating that. So instead of eating something right after the workout, we're going to allow our body a couple hours to just stay in that fasted state. So what I would recommend is if you go for a quick little burst of activity, 5, 10, 20 minutes, whatever's going to be good for you, is spend the next few hours in a fasted state and spend some time walking around, just moving your body. So for instance, this morning, I did some interval runs down by the beach with my kids, and I just finished with a 30-minute walk after. So that 30-minute walk is allowing my body to recover. And in that recovery process, your body is quite amazing. It's gonna scavenge around and look for fuel sources to kind of recover what was lost during the activity. And that's where that breakdown of those fat molecules into free fatty acid will be converted into energy. It's a really, really cool thing. So that's all you gotta do. Start your day with a quick burst of activity. Give yourself a few hours in a fasted state. Ideally more than, let me just kind of rewind for a second. If you start your fast the night before, which is what I recommend. Let's say you start your fast at 8 o'clock at night. The next day, 8 a.m. is already 12 hours of fasting. The research shows that if you can hit 16 hours, that's where the real benefits start to kick in. So if you do a workout in the morning, after 8 a.m., let's say, you've already done a 12-hour fast. If you can make it till noon, you've now done 16 hours. So if you can give yourself 3, 4, 5 hours after your workouts to just stay in that fasted state, your body is going to really, really, really tap into that stored fat that's been broken down and utilize that much more effectively to help you burn fat that much more readily and that much more easily. Now, I should say this is not something I'd recommend you do every single day, especially if you're a woman watching this. Intermittent fasting is tremendous. However, if you're a woman, you need to be careful you don't overdo this. Especially for women, if you fast, if you restrict caloric intake for too long, your thyroid will become compromised. And if your thyroid goes, so does your metabolism, because it literally is your master metabolism gland. So women, once a week, totally cool. Guys, still once a week. You don't need to do this every single day. You can if you have a lot of weight to lose, but if you're someone like me who's pretty slender already, you don't have that much body fat to tap into in the first place, you don't want to overdo this. So I'd recommend once a week. That's what I've been getting amazing results with my clients with, that simple protocol. A quick 5 to 10 minute burst of activity followed by a few hours in a fasted state. And then later in the day, you can break your fast with a smoothie, a normal meal, whatever is going to work best for you. So we're tapping into two things here. The power of not eating, which first and foremost is going to just call upon your stored reserves for energy, which is your fat in this case, because if you're not eating, your body's going to get energy from somewhere, and that's going to be internally. And then second is we're tapping into the power of short, high-intensity activity to accelerate that process inside our body. So that's as simple as it is, guys. Once a week, intermittent fast combined with a short burst of high-intensity activity first thing in the morning, and just watch what happens. I can't guarantee overnight miracles, but if you're following a good protocol of exercise and healthy eating, this will definitely kick things up to the next level. So if you've enjoyed this video and you want to go a little bit deeper, get more of a kind of a structured plan for how to use intermittent fasting in your life, then I've actually got a really cool resource for you, which is absolutely free. It's called the Intermittent Fasting Cheat Sheet, and you can grab it at the link somewhere on this video or below this video. And in that cheat sheet, you're gonna get 3 different ways to use intermittent fasting in your life, and you can choose the one that's gonna best suit your lifestyle. And second, I'm gonna answer the 19 most common questions I've been asked in 20 years of doing this. And these are the most common questions that people continue to ask over and over and over again. So instead of you searching all over the web, I've compiled everything for you in this neat, simple to use cheat sheet, which will give you everything you need to know about intermittent fasting all in one place. And once again, it's yours absolutely free just because you watched this video and because you're interested in intermittent fasting. So thank you so much for joining me. Click on the link on this video or below to grab your cheat sheet today. Remember to subscribe to the channel so you don't miss any more awesome videos. And for now, talk to you later. Thanks for joining me.